welcome to Daily Justine Live. This is going to be starting in about 4 minutes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, bear with me. I'm just making sure this is working. Started it a few minutes early. And let me see. No one's chatting or anything yet, but it says it's live. So I'm going to trust it. I have trouble going live sometimes. So hopefully this is actually working because I wanted to talk more about multiple sclerosis today because it's not talked about enough here or anywhere. It's just not, I mean, everybody knows about it, I feel like, but it's like, it's just not talked about. So why don't we, let's talk about it. And I want to talk a little bit about my history with it, how I was diagnosed, what my story is, and what my life looks like now with multiple sclerosis. I'm live. Thank you, Stephanie. You're first. You're the first person in the chat, so that's awesome. So this is working. Hi, Ira, you're here. Yay, Katie, you're here. Good. So I came on at 7 today. I'm going to go on at 7 again tomorrow, so I thought I missed today's Daily Justine, Ira says. Nah, I'm trying to do this later because, I don't know, I wonder if the 10 a.m. is just a little early. Maybe the evening's just a better time to do it. Plus, tomorrow I'm not going to be able to do it in the morning anyway. So, and a lot of times I can't do it in the morning. I don't know why I thought it was a great idea to do it at 10 a.m. But I'm doing it at 7 today, 7 tomorrow, probably 7 for the rest of the week because I don't know, it's just easier. Now, you guys didn't miss anything. I just I don't know. Thought that maybe this would be better. It's starting this at 7. It's like, what is it? 3, 4 on the West Coast. I don't know. So maybe this is better. Maybe it's not. I don't know. This is a test. This whole thing is a test. Daily Justine is a test. So, you know, it is what it is. What it is what it is. What it is. What it is. Isn't that a song? I don't know. I had actually a really bad weekend. I'll talk more about it today. But my weekend was kind of crappy. But today seems to be a better day. I don't know why. I was just really moody all weekend. And all weekend I was thinking about, it was just a negative weekend. Who knows? Maybe it was the full moon. I have about a minute before I start. So can I just complain about the full moon for a second? It was so big and so bright. I couldn't sleep last night. It was like a giant flashlight in the sky and I couldn't sleep because of the stupid moon. So, you know, I'm not like a moon fan. I don't know. Like, it just ticked me off. This is better for you, Katie. Okay, that's good. Bitch, listen, I'm glad you were able to come to this different time. My stream health just reduced itself. I don't know why. I hope it works. I hope this is working. It might not be. Going live on YouTube is very frustrating, though it might be my own personal, what do you call it? My internet connection. So that could be why it's crappy. It's 7 p.m., so good evening. Welcome to Daily Justine Live. I talk about pretty much whatever I want on this show. Usually the news, though today I want to talk about multiple sclerosis because it's just not talked about enough. And those of you in the chat, if you could let me know, first of all, if you're watching this, please give it a like. I don't get any likes, maybe because nobody likes this, but I also just forget to ask. So give it a like and also let me know if you can hear me and see me. Let me know if this is working in the chat if you can. And yeah, I wanted to talk about multiple sclerosis today because it pretty much ruined my weekend. I mean, it was kind of a lousy, not the greatest weekend to begin with, but Okay, why don't I start from the beginning? I want to talk. Um, hold on. I'm getting some chats about it's working. You can see me, you can hear me. Works for you. Awesome. You love when I stream at night. All right, that's good to know. Cuz I might keep this time. But it's kind of late for me. Gonna go to bed soon, but you know what? That's okay. Anyway, so going back to multiple sclerosis. First, I'll start off by telling my story. My own personal story, how I was diagnosed. I'm not sure if I ever detailed this in a video before, so let me detail it here. Um, I'm getting texts. I'm talking to, you guys know on, she's a guru, makeup guru on YouTube, MacNC40. We're LOLing about, uh, Los Angeles and how there's no winter there and how I should move there, and it's one of those things, pretty much nothing's stopping me from moving there, so it's maybe not a bad idea. I had like a job before and now I can't work. Anyway, going back to multiple sclerosis, um really what happened with me, how was I diagnosed? Okay, let's back up, right? 2005. I had both my feet were numb for a while. And I went to the doctor because it was becoming very bothersome. And the doctor pretty much blamed it on my weight and sent me on my merry way. Now, to be fair, I was well over 300 pounds at that point. I don't mean to, like, I don't know. So it wasn't really. He gave me a referral to a foot doctor, which I never followed up on because I was going to school. I started working at the card store that I just had to leave. So I was busy, and I'm pretty positive I didn't have health insurance, or maybe I did. I don't remember. But anyway, so that's right, I did have health insurance. It wasn't that, I just didn't go. Because I was busy and it went away after a few months. So I forgot about it. Then let's fast forward to the next year, 2006. I moved to Philadelphia and I had an awesome job. That's when I started working makeup. I was working at, they had just opened a Macy's in the Wanamaker building, which was a big deal at the time. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Philadelphia, but they have the big, beautiful Wanamaker building right in Center City. They put a Macy's there, and I was working at a makeup counter there, at a prescriptives counter. And I was there about a month, and what happened was I noticed I was having a hard time seeing. And one time, Nicky, soundly awake, he used to come visit me pretty much all the time. He would drive to Philadelphia, stay at the apartment, and just hang out. And one time he came, and I had like 2 days off. It was my first days off, and I don't even know how many weeks. And he wanted to hang out, and I was like, yeah, well, yeah, I need to go to the emergency room though because I can't see. And so he took me to the emergency room, but first we went to Chili's because we were hungry. Anyway, we go to Chili's, and I remember us talking at Chili's because I was talking about my eye, because it was really the one eye I couldn't really see out of, and we were talking about it, and he was like, oh yeah, it's probably your contact, that happens to me all the time. And I remember I was kind of worried, so I said to him, really, this happens to you, so you feel like you can't see out of an eye, and it's like there's a dark gray curtain over everything, and you can't see color? And he was like, no, that doesn't happen. Anyway, so I'm laughing because it was actually a very funny day. So we went to the emergency room, and they're looking at my eye, and there was nothing wrong with my eye, so they had to like get a neurologist, all this crap. So I remember texting Nikki because he was like in the waiting room, and I was like, look, I'm gonna be here a while, you should leave. So eventually what happens is Neurologist comes, look at my eye, and then they needed an ophthalmologist to look at my eye. Then they needed, I don't know, but basically after a team of doctors, they determined it was my optic nerve. So something called optic neuritis. So then that this is how I got diagnosed. Now, I didn't have health insurance at this time. At this time, I did not have health insurance. And I remember this because this all happened during a 6 month period in between I had insurance via my dad. Um, then I had insurance that was starting with my job. There were 6 months I didn't have insurance, which I thought I was going to be fine. Nope. What ended up happening was I was in the emergency room with optic neuritis and I couldn't see out of my eye. So I get on Medicaid and they and I stayed in the hospital for several days taking a course of steroids via an IV, and they did an MRI of my brain and spine with and a spinal tap. And that's how I got diagnosed. They found out I had MS. It was very depressing. I mean, I was 21 years old. So, that's how I was diagnosed. That's my story. And then after that, 6 months later, I I basically kept getting relapses probably every year. It would always be something different. Like after that, my next relapse was in January. I'll never forget. And the entire bottom half of my body went numb. Fast forward, my next relapse, I don't know. I don't even remember what my relapses were. I have them written down somewhere. I don't know. And I had what else did I have wrong? All sorts of, hey AJ, Katie, Fargo is here. Clara, thank you guys for coming. Um, I do always move my hands when I talk. I'm sorry, I'm Italian. I can't help it. Anyway, I'm yeah, I had relapses pretty much every year. For about 10 years after that, and it was always I would take steroids and it would go away. Take steroids, go away. Even no matter how bad the relapse was, I was always able to take steroids and it went away, and I was able to go back to work. Um, I had stuff wrong, like one time I couldn't move my left leg. One time I couldn't. I had double vision. I've had just random things like that. Like then what happened? In the end of 2014, and 2014 was the year that I was really annoying here on YouTube, talking about running, talking about fitness, talking about CrossFit, talking. I was into all that crap. I was especially into running. Running was my jam, and what happened was I started to notice that it was hard to run. And I remember talking to a doctor about it. I mentioned it. I said, hey, I had to stop running because I keep dragging my left foot. Like after I ran for a couple miles or maybe 30 minutes or so, I would have to stop because my one leg would start dragging. Like that's what would stop me from running, proceeding. And at the time, I wanted to train for a half marathon. So I was annoyed and I talked to a doctor about it, and the doctor was so unhelpful because the doctor can't get past the fact that I run to begin with, the fact that I had MS and I was running. He thought it was so impressive, but at the same time, the conversation went nowhere. And of course, looking back on it, now I know what it was. It was that when I started to get hot, it would cause a spasticity in my one leg. Spasticity. I can't pronounce. It's pronounced differently everywhere. But yeah, and which is basically it's like hyper. Your muscles get hyper. They overwork. They Like my leg would straighten up and I couldn't bend it basically. So, um, yeah, that happened. And then a few months after I noticed that, I had a relapse. This was last year. And what happened was the spasticity got so much worse. It was hard to walk. It was hard to stand. And I feel like I never really recovered from that relapse. That was always, some days were better than others for sure, but um, now I'm kind of getting into my MS progressing. Uh, so that happened last year. I kind of didn't get better since then. Last year I had a relapse and I was never able to work like I used to. I used to work like full time hours, all the time. And I had to really cut back how much I was working. Um, and then this past summer, I had a really bad MS relapse where I couldn't walk at all. I went to the doctor in a wheelchair. I could not walk, and I'm better from then. I can walk now. Not far, but I can walk. And that's the story of my MS. I'm not sure if I've ever detailed like my diagnosis story or anything like that. Um, oh, Clara says I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Um, wow, there's 28 people watching. Holy cow! Well, thank you guys for watching. I'm being kind of sad talking about MS. But I don't know if I ever told that story before about how I got diagnosed, about what exactly happened. Though my story, I think, is kind of typical in that a lot of people find out they have MS with optic neuritis. That's a very common first relapse. For some reason, an optic neuritis is basically a lesion on your optic nerve. So it's kind of common. What's bizarre about it is my dad had optic neuritis when he was in his 30s. He doesn't have MS. He never had any sort of MS symptom after that. Bizarre. So when the doctors told me that I had optic neuritis, I remember calling my dad because, of course, he's in New Jersey. I was in Philadelphia at the time. And I was telling him about it, and he was like, oh. He's like, oh, yeah, I had that. He said, about like 10, 20 years ago, I've had that. He said, they're going to give you steroids and you'll be all better. So what ended up happening was I did take steroids and I did get all better, but I found out it was because of a bigger problem. And also I remember because I continued to see these doctors in Philadelphia for a very long time, probably for almost 10 years after I was diagnosed. And even while I was still living in New Jersey, I would come all the way to Philadelphia to see my doctors. And I remember them always being so impressed with how textbook my MS was. It was just very textbook, relapse remitting MS. I remember them thinking it was very, they were impressed by how, basically my MS is like what they teach in school. They thought it was very textbook. So that's my story. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions with that? You love listening to me. Holy cow. Well, yeah, you know what, Romney? I wanted to talk about that today, so maybe at this point I'll move on to. So that's basically my story: how I got diagnosed with MS, how my MS progressed. Actually, it was really. I also have like this ataxia in my hands, which is it's not new. I've had this problem off and on. But this won't quit, though it's gotten a lot better in the past few weeks. Like, I'm talking like the past week or two, maybe. I feel like I can write a lot better. I've been practicing drawing circles, and my circles are better. I don't have them around me right now, but um, I can do it with more control, so that's cool. Um, I did have Bell's palsy at one point. Plant-based prints. I like your handle, and yes, I did have Bell's palsy. Um, Clara, that you found me about through my video about Onision. That's funny. Um, yeah, I was really into painting. I was into drawing. I was into all that stuff, and now I find my, dexterity is just not what it used to, especially in this hand, my left hand. And I was always kind of ambidextrous, so it's now my right hand is better, which is cool. Now I guess I'm a righty. I feel like this hand just sits in my lap, and I can't do anything really with it, and it's frustrating because I would do my makeup with both hands. I would so anyway, that's what's going on with my hand. Um, let's see. Have you heard of people painting with their mouths? That no, I haven't. That's crazy. That's I gotta say though. Okay, Clara has a question about how I eat. So I just want to say that nowadays that I guess my MS has progressed a little bit, which my neurologist still believes that I have a relapsing MS because I have gotten quite a bit better since my relapse in July. Like I said, I can walk now, I can draw circles now, I can write, and you can actually read it now. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I had an emotional weekend though because I was thinking about um you know what I was thinking about? How much easier it would be if I had like an electric scooter kind of wheelchair type thing because but like something really small, like something maybe that folds up, something that you could easily bring somewhere. I was just thinking about how much easier it would make my life because then I could just put it in the trunk of a car and use it if I'm going somewhere that's a lot of walking, like a mall or whatever. And I was thinking about that, and then I was watching YouTube at the time, and an ad came on for exactly what I was thinking about, which was weird. It was serendipitous, I guess. It was some kind of power chair. I forget the name of it, but it was exactly what I was thinking of. Like it folds, it was battery powered, and I also remember thinking that it had a weight limit and it had different widths. And see, my size now, I fit in the smallest one. They did sell bigger ones, but they were so much more expensive. So reason number 8,000, I'm glad I lost weight because now I can fit in like a smaller chair. Because they have like weight limits and stuff. So now at my current weight, I don't really have to worry about that. But if I were still the weight I was, I would need the super diesel chair. So there's that. Anyway, so I was looking at this chair, and then I Googled it. I found it on Amazon. It was actually less money than I thought it would be. It was like maybe it was less than $2,500. It was maybe I think it was around 2,000 bucks for this chair. And I remember thinking, boy, that's not that much money. And then I was thinking about buying it, and I actually got to the point where I started buying it, and and I was. It's so funny because this is everything I ever buy. I get to the checkout, and then I see the shipping, and I'm like, ugh, and tax and shipping, and I'm like, ugh. Tax and shipping just makes me stop and think about it. I just bought a hoodie from Vegan Supply Co. Oh my god, that $5.95 shipping almost deterred me from buying it. And the tax and shipping always makes me stop and think, and it especially made me stop and think with this chair. And then I started getting upset because I was like, well, what is this my life now? Is this what buying wheelchair? You know, I got so upset. I really did. And this is what I'm talking about with like the full moon and the it was just an emotional weekend. And um yeah, I agree shipping should be free. Well, you know what? Maybe I don't have Amazon Prime. Maybe I should look into that. Chairs are heavy, but this one was only 40 pounds. So, um, I don't, which I guess for a chair is light. I don't know. It seems like a very cool chair. Um, well, that's a good point, Cece. I don't know what, I don't know what my insurance will pay for. My insurance might pay for it. Um, so yeah, it was upsetting. It was just like a downer weekend, and obviously I didn't buy the chair. I'm glad I didn't because you're right. My insurance might pay for it. Um, well, thank you. I don't. It's like I don't. Your stream is frozen. Say, try hitting refresh. Um, I want to get to hold on. Somebody asked about how I've been eating. I want to move on because I'm only I don't want to depress everybody. Um, oh, Clara. Oh, Clara had a question about how I eat. But is Clara the one that can't hear me? Ah, thank you, Romney Mitt. Maybe 7 o'clock is better. Maybe I'll just keep doing it at 7. Um, Clara, what's your question? Um, it could be Comcast. It could be my own internet. It could be mine. It could be. I thought about that. Maybe I need to upgrade my internet. It could be that. Um, I don't know if Clara can hear me, or maybe there's a lag. But Clara, I know you had a question. Doing it in the evening then, because this works for me. Because sometimes the mornings are too early. Sometimes, I mean, today I slept in. And I was glad I was doing this later. Of course, sleeping in for me is like 7 o'clock in the morning, but um, oh, Clara's isn't working. She had a question about how I've been eating. Um, oh, good, Romney. I'm glad it's working for you. Um, Captain Kronk, his keeps freezing. It could be. This is a very high def stream. I did it like 60 frames per second. Claire will be back. Okay, good. I'm gonna stop this in about 6 minutes. But I'll ask if anybody else has a question. Maybe I can address it. Um, segue. But anyway, yeah, the chair was nice. I forget the name of it. It was like battery powered, and you can plug it in, and it was only like 40 pounds, and it was a cool chair. But then I got depressed thinking about that being my life. I was thinking way too much about it, and what happened was nothing. Will you be hanging out with Nikki again? Book Girl asked. Well, Book Girl, I've actually been thinking a lot about going to California, about visiting California, about maybe staying in California, because there's nothing, there's not much keeping me here except my nieces and my nephew are here. So that's the only thing. But in California, they don't have winter. That's what me and Susie were talking about earlier. There's no winter in California. They just skip it. It doesn't exist. I asked her today, I was like, hey, is there really winter there? And she laughed. She was like, what's that? And, and that she knew what it was, and I'm kidding, but it's just they don't have winter there, and I hate winter. Heather wants me to come to California. Um, okay, all right. Clara asked. I wanted to ask how do you handle dealing with possible craving attacks? Can I admit that I don't when I abruptly went vegan, I didn't crave anything. There was nothing I missed. There was no yeah, I didn't miss anything. Um that it was actually very easy for me. That if I have to make a suggestion, I would say I started doing it when I started the starch solution. And the starch solution is really cool because it's a lot of carbs and see, I felt like I had much worse cravings eating paleo. Yes, you crave carbs because carbs are your body's primary source of energy. So, and that's what it was. I was eating paleo and I was literally having cravings. I was dreaming, literally dreams about rice. So, um, and then when I abruptly switched, it was the starch solution is nothing but carbs. So it was kind of an easy switch for me because I was like, holy cow, yay, carbs. And the only thing about it is I feel like I eat a lot more now. That's the only thing. Um, your biggest weakness. Well, look, I eat so much pasta now. This is what I'm getting at. I feel like we shouldn't maybe. It was hard for me to not eat carbs because our body wants to eat carbs because it's our body's primary source of energy, like I said. So now, if I'm craving pasta, I go ahead and I eat the pasta. Um, I have all these boxes of gluten-free pasta that I should make. Um, um, yeah, potatoes, rice, pasta, all that. And plant-based Prince came back with pasta. He said, "We're talking about pasta. Pasta's your love. That's because there's pasta's the best. It's like I eat as much of it as I want now. Oh my god. Well, if you have a lot of weight to lose, CC, if you're being serious, and if you want to eat vegan or if you're thinking about it, I would give the starch solution a Google because I've lost yes, I would advise if you have a lot of weight to lose, I would advise the starch solution because when I've followed the starch solution to the letter, I lost a ton of weight. I mean, being the size that I am now, I lost 10 pounds in a month, and I'm not big, so if but the starch solution is no oils, no fat, so it's not it is kind of hard to stick to. And nowadays, I do eat oils because I'm not following it to the letter. My doctor actually told me to stop losing weight because he's afraid I'll accidentally lose muscle at this point. Because my MS problems, I had muscles atrophy in my left leg. So I'm advised to not lose weight. Started eating some oils, but the starch solution is no oils. And if you have a lot of weight to lose, you'll lose it following the starch solution, I promise. And there's plenty of people out there talking about the starch solution and weight loss on YouTube, on the internet, on So in fact, I wish I did the starch solution the whole time instead of paleo, forcing myself to not eat carbs, forcing. I can't. All right, I'm gonna stop doing this, but let me look at the chat for a few minutes. Um, okay. the Captain Kronka tried Dr. McDougall's name brand food, and I didn't care for it. Um, well, the starch solution is I don't have a lot of the name brand food either. It's all another thing to keep in mind is that most of it is low sodium. So if you're used to using a bunch of salt, it's gonna taste kind of bland. Um, yeah, plant-based Prince is eating pasta right now with tomato puree flavored with paprika, parsley, and cayenne. So it's possible. The starch solution is basically a high carb, low fat eating plan. All right, this is 2 minutes over, so I'll pay attention to the chat for like one more minute, then I'll stop. Justine, will you write a book? Like other YouTubers are doing. Nah, I can't see myself sitting down writing a book. I ain't got the patience for that. I might do a I talk a lot about weight loss. I might do like a video series or something, but I can't imagine myself writing a book. That's I mean, unless, maybe if I have someone helping me. Eh, um, how about cooking videos? Well, I'm not that good at cooking. The, what about a podcast? What about cooking videos? What about look? Anything's possible. And if I have one passion here, it's that I would love to help as many people as possible lose weight because the benefits have been enormous for me. To the benefits. Oh my god, the benefits. Not just I mentioned about even the wheelchair being cheaper. I used to really not like traveling because it was hard to fit in airplane seats, and maybe it still is. I'm still not petite. I'm really tall, but I feel like I've never like been on a roller coaster. I've never, the benefits are just amazing. On disability, they audit in 5 years. They say, what did they look for? AJ, I have no idea. When I got my approval letter, it said that they're gonna look in 5 to 7 years to make sure I'm still disabled. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna look for. I mean, it. I don't know. I don't know. Um. Oh, Clara says no matter what videos you make, I'll be watching them anyway. That's awesome. All right, it's 7:34, so I'm gonna stop doing this. Thank you so much for coming for today's daily, Justine. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I usually come on a few minutes early just to make sure it's working. All right. Well, thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.